You're watching Hot Wok Academy. My name is Mingjin Tong, and today we're going to be making taro cake. It's a wonderful, savory, steamed cake that you also pan fry. Let's cook. All right, so for taro cake, let's take a look first at our equipment before we look at our ingredients. So you see over here, I've got my steamer and it is already going with lots of steam ready for us. We're actually gonna be using the steamer today, but I also wanted to talk to you about some of my other steamers. So this steamer here, this is a bamboo basket steamer. Now I've had this one for, gosh, 20 years probably, and it's all kind of broken. You can see where the bamboo has chipped off from being wet and dry and heated and wet and dry and cooled all over again. But you know what? This steam basket actually works just fine. So get yourself a nice bamboo steamer. It actually has a wonderful flavor. As you're steaming it, that bamboo flavor really comes out. They usually are sold in boxes like these. This one in particular is from H Mart, which is a Korean market that's a lot of places over the US, but not here in the Twin Cities. And get yourself a bamboo steamer. And also, this is a large form steamer that I'll be using. And this is helpful because sometimes in my smaller steamer, I'm not able to put whole dishes in there. And a steamer like this can solve that problem for you. So they're not expensive. Take a look at the different steamers that you can buy and find one that works for you. So let's take a look now at our ingredients. Of course, taro cake is gonna start with a big fresh taro. If you've never worked with this product before, this is taro. In Chinese, we call it 芋头. And in Taiwan, they do everything with this. You can eat it steamed, you can eat it as a cold appetizer. They even make ice cream from this product, and it's really, really delicious. This is also popularly used in Hawaii. If you ever had Hawaiian poi, it's also made from taro. We're also going to use some scallions as our aromatic. And I have this product here. This is what we call xiami, small shrimp or dried shrimp. These are very aromatic. I can smell them even right here. And these are headless shrimp that have been cleaned, dried, and you don't really use them as a protein. You use them as an aromatic. So it is a protein-based aromatic that will add a lot to our taro cakes for today. And then, of course, salt and water. But I wanted to talk about these two products. This is going to be our thickening agent. We're going to be using rice flour, not glutenous rice flour. And there's quite a big difference between these two. If you've ever had a fried sesame ball at a Chinese restaurant, it's made from the glutinous rice flour. It's a short, sweet rice that's been turned into flour. That's not what we want. What you want to use for this recipe and all steamed cake recipes that are savory is going to be just the regular rice flour. So make sure you know the difference. Make sure you get the right one. So what we'll do, let's go ahead and get our ingredients prepped. For our shrimp, all you really need to do is you need to soak them. Soaking it begins to rehydrate the shrimp. And on top of that, it kind of takes away some of the flavor. These are such strongly flavored ingredients that we actually want to soak that away. It's going to make it a little bit softer so that when we use it, it's easier to chop up with our knife. I'll just set that there. And of course, we need our scallions. So scallions in this case is just gonna be an aromatic, nothing too special here. I'm not really gonna do any particular kind of a cut, just kind of small because I want it to be small in my taro cake. So I'll just do one bunch and that should be enough here. All right, we'll go like that. That's plenty for us. If you don't have a nice bench scraper, I love this particular one for pastry, and it's just fantastic for working with all kinds of foods. All right, we'll save these for later. Okay, now for our taro, we're only gonna be using half of this. This is actually a really large piece, but I wanted to show you what a whole taro looks like. So what we'll do, we're gonna go ahead and I'll use the top half of this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna remove the top And I'm only gonna use about half of this, so we'll go right about here. All right, you can look at the inside. Taro has just a beautiful pattern on the inside. It looks white now with little specks, and after we steam it, it will be purple all the way through. So this is what it looks like. We'll set this here. And because it has quite a thick husk on the outside of it, you could use a peeler. So let me demonstrate what that's like. You're gonna have to go through a couple times with a peeler to get down to just the flesh. So an alternate way that you could be peeling your taro is actually with your knife. So let me demonstrate that technique as well. What you'll want to do is you'll have a nice flat surface on the bottom, and you're going to use your blade and shave the edge of the taro all the way down. And so you're actually taking off quite a thick piece of taro, but this is actually going to help make sure that you get all the way down to where the flesh of the taro is sweet, okay? So we'll do that all the way around, and you don't have to go super deep, but you do want to make sure that you remove the entire husk, the entire skin of the taro. I'm just going to use my blade, follow it all the way down the edge. Now, I don't even know if taro skin is edible or not. I imagine it is, but it is kind of like the outside of a coconut, where there's also some fibers that you don't want to have included in your food, mainly because of the texture. All right, almost done here. And just clean this up a little bit. Make sure I get all those dead, dry edges out. Okay, let's compost this. And now we're ready. You can actually buy taro in this form at most Asian grocery stores. In fact, I'll tell you, they usually come like this. For a piece about this size, cut into this format and then shrink wrapped in a plastic, you'll pay about $4. For the entire taro, I paid about $6. So of course, it's a much better deal if you have it this way and you process it yourself. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna steam my taro. So I want it to steam pretty quickly, but I don't want it to fall completely apart either. So I want my taro pieces rather large, not huge. What I'll do is I'm gonna cut each piece into 6. Same thing here. Thirds first and then in half. Then I'm gonna take a cheesecloth. This is actually an aromatics bag for boiling in soup. You can see here, you can actually put all your aromatics in. It's a very large bag, but today I'm using it as a cheesecloth. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and lay that in my steamer. And I could actually steam my taro right on the cloth. I don't even need to put it in a pan. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll load up our steamer with these taro pieces. Now, taro is a pretty hardy vegetable, so you're gonna want to let it steam for probably about 25 to 35 minutes. You'll know it's done the same way you know a baked potato is ready, when it's soft all the way through. If you use a cake tester, which we'll do in a minute, then you'll know when it's finished. So we'll go ahead and let that steam, and when it's done, we'll continue making up the taro cake. Our taro's been steaming for about half an hour, and now that the shrimp has also been soaking for that time, let's go ahead and drain it, and we're gonna go ahead and chop it up so that we can add it to our taro. All right, so let's get that out. And what we want to do is just a real rough cut, nothing special. You just don't want whole pieces of shrimp in your taro cake, but these, it just adds such a terrific flavor. So let's give it a rough cut, and we will be ready to add it to our cake. All right, and that's pretty much all you really want to do. Let's get that off our board and back into the bowl. All right, should we take a look at our taro? Let's see what it looks like. All right, that is beautiful. Let me see if I can show you that. Cut the fire here as well. And the taro is all ready. So it's got a nice light purple color to it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and break it apart, mash it, and we'll go ahead and get it ready for a second round of steaming. Let me get the masher. Okay. Here's our prep bowl, and let's pull the taro out. Ooh, it's pretty hot, but not terrible. And again, you want to make sure that your taro is cooked all the way through, and it should be mashable. So let's take a look here. It looks like this. Let's go ahead and see if it just crushes. Yeah, it'll just crush all the way down, just like that. So your taro is all the way done. It's very similar actually to a potato. Now, I'm not gonna mash it into a complete pulp because I actually like to have chunks of taro in my taro cake. So I'm not gonna mash too much. I just wanna break it apart, and I still want whole fibrous taro pieces in there. That's looking about right to me. So just give it a couple mashes is really all you need. From here, let's go ahead and add our shrimp. And let's add our scallions. And of course, we need to add a little bit of salt. All the salt you're gonna be using in this dish is right here. So make sure you add enough so that you have a flavorful but not salty taro cake. Okay, we're gonna use our masher one more time, and this time just to mix it, make sure that's all mixed together. I don't want to crush my taro pieces anymore, but I do want to get them all mixed together. And now we're gonna make our slurry mixture. So this is going to be, I'll just go ahead and use this bowl here. This is gonna be the mixture of rice flour and water. So from experience, I know about half of a taro, I'm gonna be using about 1/3 to 1/2 of my bag. So I'll just put some here. You can think of it this way. The rice flour is the binder for the taro. The taro needs something to help it stick together when it goes in for a second steam. So you don't want to add too much rice flour because you're not trying to eat rice flour cake. If you are to steam rice flour by itself in water, it becomes very thick. So be careful not to do that. Let's go ahead and add some water and let's test the texture and we'll see how we're doing. You want to use cool water for this, otherwise your rice flour is going to stick together pretty bad. When I'm doing this, I really do like to use my hand, and the reason why is because I actually want to be able to feel for any lumps. It's a little bit more difficult. If you want, you can use like a silicone scraper, but using your hand will be probably give you the best result of understanding the texture. Okay, I could tell you right now, one thing I've done wrong. I added too much water. I think I was a little bit too overzealous with adding my water. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna get rid of some of this mixture, and I'm gonna add more rice to it. So how liquid is too liquid? Let me show you here. This is far too wet, far too runny. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of most of that, and let's go ahead and start again. I'll add a little more rice flour to it. If you're cooking and you make mistakes, it's perfectly fine. Go with it. I've wasted a little bit of rice flour, but it's better than ruining my whole dish, okay? I'm gonna add more rice flour now to get the right thickness, and let's try that again. This might be right, but we'll see. It might also be too thick, which is okay, because I can always add that liquid back in. You do get these lumps, and what I'm doing inside is I'm breaking those lumps apart. Very easy to work with this product, and it's a great neutral flavored thickener. Rice flour doesn't have a lot of its own flavor, which is fantastic. Okay, I'm actually quite liking this texture here. Let me lift it up so you can see it for yourself. So this is the texture that I have. It's a little bit runny. I am actually going to add just a little bit more rice flour, which actually just helps you to see how much water I had added. So I'm just going to make that just a little bit thicker. If you have trouble like me getting it the right consistency, then you're in good company, or I'm in good company with you. All right, this is feeling really good. It's got a nice viscosity, got the right texture in there. And let me break that apart and let me show you that one more time. Okay, so this is the thickness that I want. Again, I'm trying to create a binder for my taro. I'm not really trying to make a rice cake as much as a taro cake. So, oh man, that taro smells amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and add this to our taro. You may have seen a few lumps in there. I saw that as well. It's going to be fine because we're going to further mix it. In fact, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and mix it with my scraper now. All right, let's get that all incorporated and let's see how the texture is when we're done. Keep in mind, the taro itself is also a starch. And so when you steam it, it naturally wants to form into a cake. The rice is just there to really help it do that. I'm getting it mixed. I'm noticing it's a little bit crumbly. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add some of that rice water right back in to help it stick together just a little bit better. Keeping in mind, this is overly liquid with a little bit of rice flour, but I think it's going to be actually perfect for our mixture here. Yep, it's already starting to come together a lot better. Okay, and believe it or not, I need a little bit more liquid. So maybe I was right with the liquid, but wrong with the rice. I apologize, I'm not exactly sure. But if you look here, it still is kind of crumbly to me, and you want it to hold together a lot better than that. So I'm gonna add even more of this liquid right back in. I'm gonna go ahead and add all of it. You know, when you're cooking by instinct and not by numbers, cooking by experimentation and not by something that's been measured out already or a perfect amount, you kind of get to learn and experiment and play. And I know some people don't like that. Some people would rather just have it done perfectly. For myself, I kind of enjoy having the opportunity to see what happens when we have different proportions and try to understand how food behaves as a way to cook. Okay, this is great. I'm really liking this consistency now. I've got some good taro chunks. I've got a really good mix, and most importantly, it's not crumbly anymore. So if you look at this texture, this is one solid paste now, and that's really what you're going for before you steam it, okay? So let's go ahead and get this ready. We'll get it ready for our steam pan now. So let's go ahead and get our steamer back on. I'm gonna remove my cloth. And what I want now is I want to use a cake pan. This is an aluminum pan. And I want to add some oil. You're going to need to oil this pretty well because the taro cake will stick pretty badly to the pan if you don't oil it sufficiently. So I'm just taking a paper towel and wiping it. Make sure that my whole pan is coated with oil before I put the taro cake in. All right, that's coated really well all the way through. And let's get our taro cake into that pan. Oh, that smells so good. All right, let's get the rest of it. And let's go ahead and get that smoothed out into the pan. You know, it's tempting to take the pan and wrap it on the cutting board to kind of knock it flat. You're gonna knock air out of it when you do that and make it too dense, so don't do that. You wanna keep it fluffy as you make it evenly seated in the pan. All right, that's looking just beautiful. If you look at that, it's ready to go. I am just gonna add just a little bit more salt to it on the top. And we are ready to put that into our steamer. If you have a bamboo steamer and it's big enough to fit this, that's perfectly fine as well. Just for the size, I actually like to use this steamer to help hold larger quantities of food. All right, we're gonna put that back now in the steamer for another 25 minutes. And then we're gonna take it out and we'll see where it's at. We've had our taro cake steaming now for about 35 minutes actually. So it was a pretty thick cake, so I gave it a little extra time. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat down on it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Make sure that it doesn't drip onto your cake when you open it up. All right, that's looking pretty good. And I'm gonna take my cake tester here. This is like a dollar tool, but one of the best tools that I have. I just love it. And what I'm looking for is not a perfectly clean poke, but more for the texture. Has the cake solidified into one piece? And you know what, just by moving it around, I could actually see it has. And obviously it's standing up pretty nice. And is it coming out mostly clean? It is coming out mostly clean, although there is a little, just a little bit of the taro cake on there. It's gonna be perfectly fine though. Let's go ahead and remove it from the fire. And I've got a frying pan here that I'm gonna be using to actually now cook. So this is the final step. So here's the cake having come out. This is the way it looks when it's all done. It smells terrific, very aromatic with that shrimp, the shrimp flavor in there. So again, let's see if it'll come out. I hope it comes out with no problems here. And you know what? Let me see if I can get it to budge it all. Yep, it looks pretty good. Like it'll separate pretty easy. I'm just cutting all the way around it, separating it from the pan. And I might actually take a silicone scraper to get down under there. So the silicone scraper, the advantage here is that it's got this really bendy tip. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that underneath and bend it below my taro cake to see if I can get it to release all the way around. It looks pretty good. All right, and let's go ahead and dump it, and we'll cross our fingers and see how we've done here. Hopefully it's gonna come out in one piece. All right, that looks terrific. So here's our taro cake. And what you're gonna do next is we're gonna slice it and pan fry it before we eat it. So I've got a pan over here that's been heating up. Let me get that over and we will get the pan frying going. Okay, this is just a flat bottom frying pan, carbon steel. I want to get that onto probably about a medium heat. And let's use some canola oil. I'm going to use a pretty generous amount because I want there to be good connection between the taro cake and the frying pan, and the oil is going to help it sizzle. So at this point, you might want to let it rest. It's also fine to go ahead and slice it and fry it up right away. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut pretty thick slices here, probably about 3/4 inch. And I'm going to do just a few pieces here. All right, I'll go ahead and lay one in. Let's see if I can get you a nice cross section. So I can see here, the top of it is, this is where the top was. It's a little bit gooey or goopy. That's perfectly natural. There was a lot of steam on here, but it's very well set here on the inside. So let's go ahead and get that face down in the oil, let that sizzle. And we'll cut these two in half and let them sizzle as well. All right, and this I'm going to set face down. Let's get that oil so it's got good contact all the way around with that taro cake. So for these pieces, I'm going to let them cook on all 4 sides, which means I'm going to sear it with oil and turn it 1/4 turn all the way around. All right, so all of these are pan fried on every side. Let's just take a look and see the sizzle that we've got. I got a nice browning on each side. These are pretty much finished. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the fire, and they're ready to go. So what you want to do is you can serve them just like this. And what we normally do is we like to serve it with some soy sauce or a sweetened soy sauce. You can top it with white pepper, or really however you want to top it is perfectly fine. Now these shapes are a little bit funny, to be honest. They normally come out more like a square that's tall. These I've just cut into a kind of a strange bar shape, but they'll taste great. Let us know what you think. Give it a try, and we hope that you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.